You Won't See This in the News frankly discusses certain subjects that the mainstream media either ignore or censor, but which are vitally important to every American, most of whom are kept uninformed as a result. The purpose of this video is to expose this censorship, reveal some of what the media are concealing, and demonstrate how they are manipulating us. We guarantee that some of the information in this video will be new to you. After watching part 1, do not assume that parts 2 and 3 are any less startling. Do not skip around if this is your first viewing. Please watch it from start to finish in sequence. Some of this information is very disturbing, but this is not to cause despair or hopelessness. On the contrary, we offer a very viable solution to the situation we describe. The creators of this video do not expect you to accept or reject this information solely on the basis of viewing it, but urge you to conduct your own independent research. Welcome to You Won't See This in the News with your hosts, Rick and Dick. I'm Rick, and you must be Dick. Say hello, Dick.
Hello, Rick.
Not to me, to the viewers.
Oh, hello.
Good. Now we can begin. Dick, quotations are something of a specialty of yours. Now, do you have one that succinctly describes the general theme of You Won't See This in the News?
Yes, I do.
Well?
I have a great quote.
And?
And what?
Are you going to read it?
Oh, you didn't say that.
I thought it was implicit.
Here's the quote. It's from A.J. Liebling, an American journalist who frequently wrote for The New Yorker for many years.
Wait a minute. Let's put it up on the screen.
Freedom of the press is guaranteed only to those who own one.
That's it? Those 12 words?
What's wrong with them? That's the theme of You Won't See This in the News.
Well, I've got 204 words to your 12, Dick, and they're right from the congressional record.
This better be good.
In March 1915, the J.P. Morgan interests, the steel, shipbuilding, and powder interests, and their subsidiary organizations, got together 12 men high up in the newspaper world and employed them to select the most influential newspapers in the United States, and sufficient number of them to control, generally, the policy of the daily press of the United States. These 12 men worked the problem out by selecting 179 newspapers, and then began, by an elimination process, to retain only those necessary for the purpose of controlling the general policy of the daily press throughout the country. They found it was only necessary to purchase the control of 25 of the greatest papers. The 25 papers were agreed upon. Emissaries were sent to purchase the policy, national and international, of these papers. An agreement was reached. The policy of the papers was bought, to be paid for by the month. An editor was furnished for each paper to properly supervise and edit information regarding the questions of preparedness, militarism, financial policies, and other things of national and international nature considered vital to the interests of the purchasers.
That's an incredible statement. All right, Rick, you win. But before you pick up the marbles, one question comes to mind. Why did the bankers want to buy out the big newspapers?
Well, Dick, 1915 was a long time ago, but we're going to show that this buyout was part of a conspiracy of monumental proportions, and we'll refer back to it many times.
In the intervening 90 years, the birth of this conspiracy has only gotten worse, much worse. The bankers control the media then, and they control it now, all with a heavy hand of censorship. We are going to demonstrate exactly how they have captured control of the media and what their true motivation is.
And we will show you how this media control has diluted your freedom and prosperity, and what you can do to restore them and return our country to its constitutional foundations. We are going to address these and other issues in this video.
Which other issues?
Whichever ones come up.
But there's no one to raise them.
What do you mean? Someone in the studio audience will probably have an issue to discuss.
That's impossible.
Why?
Because there isn't any studio audience.
You know, I wondered why it was so quiet out there. I thought they were just being respectful. All right then, how about the cameraman, the electrician, the crew? One of them might have a question.
There's no crew, Rick. It's just us.
Well, Dick, I hope someone is watching, because the media certainly aren't going to tell anyone what we're going to talk about.
Unfortunately, that's true. The media have gone from their traditional role of watchdog to lapdog, and it censors as much by what they do report as what they don't report. So we will be describing the very significant role the mass media have played and continue to play in controlling our lives and supporting a hidden agenda.
And you will see why you won't see this in the news. Speaking of a hidden agenda, Dick, in 2006 you played me a speech you had written and recorded. It was about the people who stay in the background, out of the public eye, but who essentially control national governments as well as the mass media in their drive to create a global empire, a world government.
Do you mean the sort of people who would buy out 25 newspapers to, quote, properly supervise and edit information regarding things of national and international nature considered vital, unquote, to their interests?
That and more. You called it CFR plus Bilderberg equals treason. Well, it's not exactly E equals MC squared, and it's too long for our show, but perhaps we can bring out some of the highlights.
So again, my work ends up on the cutting room floor.
The ultimate sacrifice of all artists.
That should be great artists.
Don't push it, Dick. Let's hold off on the subject of treason for a moment. I'm not sure if all of our viewers can accept that treason is committed on a daily basis in this country. At least not yet, anyway. But we can talk about world government because that sounds like a good thing.
It sure does. In fact, some people may ask, what is wrong with the world government? The answer is that if it had a constitution, a Bill of Rights, and a system of checks and balances that limited government, as our Constitution does, then a world government might be a good idea. A single government instead of hundreds or thousands of individual jurisdictions, a single currency, army, police force, banking system, these all might be very beneficial to mankind. But there are absolutely insurmountable problems with moving from the guarantees and freedoms we enjoy to a world government providing those same guarantees and freedoms.
Can you give me some examples of those problems?
Perhaps I can do so better in the form of questions.
Who is leading the movement to create a world government? Why is this movement operating in such secrecy? Why is it not discussed in the national media? Would every citizen in the world vote for the government leaders? Would civilians command the armed forces? How will we react if the world government sends its military into the United States to restore order in a troubled area?
Most people would probably first ask, what makes you think a world government is being created in secret?
Then I would respond with the evidence. A man's intentions are known by his deeds, not his words. And there are plenty of deeds proving that we are in the very advanced stages of a world government, even if most Americans are unaware of it. There are a number of, by invitation only, secret organizations dedicated to this goal, including the Trilateral Commission, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, Skull and Bones, and others. But to simplify things, let's look at two organizations and a few individuals who are spearheading the drive for world government. One such organization is the Council on Foreign Relations,
also known as the CFR, which is not to be confused with the Code of Federal Regulations.
The CFR describes itself as an organization that conducts research on international subjects. Its tagline on the CFR website is, a nonpartisan resource for information and analysis. 7 words which really say nothing at all. The CFR publishes a variety of reports on the results of that research. It claims that it has no official relationship with the government, but the evidence clearly indicates that this claim is an outrageous lie. The CFR was created in 1921. Its millionaire founding president was J.P. Morgan's personal attorney, and its founding vice president's law firm represented the Morgan interests.
And according to the congressional record, it was representatives of Morgan interests who bought out the 25 most influential newspapers in 1915. That buyout paid dividends immediately.
How so?
Remember the Lusitania?
I thought it was Remember the Maine.
Well, that was 1898, and the sinking of the Maine led to the Spanish-American